Alas, I feel no sadness at your death. Alas, I feel no joy. Alas, I feel no hate. Alas, I feel no love. Alas, I feel content. Alas, I had no childhood. Alas, you robbed me of that. Alas, you felt the need to beat. Alas, you had to drink. Alas, I'm bruised for life. Alas, you were dead a long time ago. Alas, I will not see you burn. Alas, I feel no shame. Alas, your actions are to blame. Alas, I wish I could mourn for you. Alas, I feel no scorn. So now you leave your wicked world alone and abandoned. Alas, you have no one to blame but yourself. So, welcome to Acoustic Haven. I know that was a bit of a downer of a poem to start with, but it connects into my character, that Cathy Carson plays, called Daniela, and it's in this wonderful book. So we'll get straight on with the show, and we welcome, I forgot your name, Cathy Carson. No, keep it going. Cathy Carson. But anyway, my first guest, Cathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, I have to ask you first and foremost, Becoming Marvellous was such a wonderful play.
Thank you.
And it was so draining in the audience. So how did that feel for you? I mean, night after night, you're having to perform that character.
So, Becoming Marvellous is a story of a young girl who grows up in a broken home and becomes homeless, and then the story follows her throughout her journey, getting back to life back together again. Yes, it's draining. I touch on a lot of my own story. So in order to do it, I've got to keep all that stuff close to the surface so that I can reach it. And when I wrote the story first, I just wrote all of my own story. And then when I realised that when I had to perform it and do it, that actually I had no safe places to go. And so that was leaving me really vulnerable on stage and really exposed on stage. So I realised then that I had to put some fiction in that, because I needed some way to step away on stage and step back and gather myself to step back into the next bit that was mine, that felt painful or upsetting. And that gives me the space to do it. But still, I always describe Becoming Marvellous afterwards as taking everything that I've packed away neatly on shelves, and someone goes in and just ransacks the house and throws it all on the floor.
Right.
And so even after doing Becoming Marvellous, I've learned that I need to take some time to pack all of that stuff away again.
Yeah.
And the first couple of shows, when I felt low after doing it, I didn't recognise what it was. So it's been really good this last couple of years doing the show so many times to recognise that low and say to myself, okay, I know what this is now, and I know what I need to do, and I just need to take some time and pack that away again and get myself back on a level again.
And so now that's, for now, that performance-wise, that's been
I've taken a break. The reason I've taken a break is partly because of that, Mark, but also because I'm carrying around 11,000 words in my head for the last 3 years, and I miss writing.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to write with keeping all those words in my head.
Okay.
I haven't enough space.
Yeah.
I'm still working as a full-time nurse. And so I just don't have the capacity to do those three things, nursing, show and writing at the same time. And gym.
Your weightlifting's unbelievable.
Thank you so much.
I don't know where that came from, but I was like, that's why I called you the Mighty Atom last week in my thing, because that's what it's like. You're so on the go all the time.
I probably started the same year that I started the show. And I do it for mental health. That's why I do it. Anybody looking at me, I'm a wee tank. Like, I'm not doing it to get skinny, because I'm not skinny. No. I do it because I really enjoy feeling strong in my body. I struggle with anxiety.
Yeah.
and I struggle with panic attacks sometimes.
Yeah.
And that can make you feel really out of control of your body, because your breathing can take off or your shake can take off,
Yeah.
and you don't feel in control of your body. There's something about being in that gym and asking something of my body and it doing it that makes me feel really centered and in control again,
Yeah.
more so than anything. But I love that feeling of setting a challenge and getting my gear on and doing it. It's great.
And so from that, how did the writing start then? How did that?
So I have always written. And I even remember as a kid, Mark, and I was like P3, so I must have been about 7. And the teacher would have said to us, write a story in your jotter, and then when you've written your story and you have it right, put it into your good book. And I remember not wanting to write the same story twice. Even at that age, I was like, well, that is really boring. I'm not writing the same story twice, so I would always have written a different story into my good book. And then things like even PE and gym class in school, if you forgot your PE kit, your punishment was to write a story. Well, I never brought my PE kit. I was always wanting to write a story. And it's always just been a safe way. I've always been a wee bit shy and found it a wee bit hard to say things sometimes, and sometimes can still stammer. I stammered a little as a kid. And so it's always been a safe place.
Yeah.
Just to write without filtering and to write without judgment and to express whatever it was that I needed to express. It's really only in the last sort of 5 or 6 years that I've started to share that work.
Right.
And never thought that I would be on a stage sharing that work. That's been a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was some impact though. I mean, when I saw you, as I said, I think I did a review of it. I can't remember what it was for, but I'd just written that I'd seen the show. I started off three rows from the front and ended up at the back because it was just so powerful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that leads us on then. One final question and then you can do your set for us. So what's next for Cathy? What's next for you? Not so much Daniela, what's for you?
So since setting down the show, I decided to set down the show in March, and it's been really lovely to feel little ideas coming back again, and because I have space for them.
Yeah.
And little nuggets of things so I don't write a complete piece ever. I'll get the start of a piece or I'll get a phrase and I'll collect as I go, and then I'll meet something or something will happen or something will shift within me, and I'll have this awareness of, okay, that part there belongs to the end of that story, or that bit there belongs to the end of that poem. I don't ever have a complete concept when I start out, but life always sends me the ending.
Yeah.
And I just have to wait and be patient on the ending. So at the minute, I've written a couple of new pieces, but I also have lots of new starts that I'm waiting on finding the ending for. I'm waiting for life to show me that.
Yeah.
I'm really lazy about writing. I have to be moved to write. I have to feel inspired to write. I'm not one of these persons who's going to sit down unless I feel driven to do so.
I'm the same. It's exactly the same. I can't just write for the sake of it.
Can't write cold, as I say. Yeah.
There has to be some sort of inspiration, even if it's a word or a phrase, like I was saying to you earlier.
Yeah.
It has to be that way. Well, for me, it does. I used to be able to write topics. Darren gave me a thing about hurling, asked me to write a poem about hurling, and that night I'd written a poem about hurling. It was for his brother-in-law. But on the whole, I can't do it like say Marty, who and Claire Rose, who churn out 8-9 poems a day. It's like
and all of them quality. That's the thing. All of them quality. That's the thing.
And you're going another one. Good grief. But, right, brilliant. Well, I think that's enough for the questions. And thanks, Cathy. And we'll let you go on with your show.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Darren, for having me. The first one that I wanted to start with tonight, you lads had Biddy on a lot of weeks ago, and Biddy was chatting about an event that she runs called Flash Fiction. And Biddy really set me off in this journey. I kind of sent her a piece that I had written, and she invited me to read it. The piece has had a few edits since then, and I didn't read it the way I do it now. I read it shaking, and I read it a wee bit too high, because I was really nervous. But I wanted to do that piece again. I remember doing it again a while back during lockdown, and it felt like reclaiming it back again because I felt like I made a mess of it the first time. So this little piece is called Spectrum. It is the Saturday before Christmas. God, I swear, every damn soul in Cornmarket seems intent on walking through me. My ears are bitten and bone marrow cold. And Leo holds my hand like he did as a toddler. Now 18 years old, his height is 6'2", but his gait is only slightly better. And he walks head down, avoids all eye contact, uses the rhythm of my steps as a guide, stiffens, stops. Coffee, he shouts, and it's loud enough that people stir. Then coffee again. And he lets go of my hand to flap his long arms and stamp his feet, and no coffee and no nonsense. I say, we need to get home, son. I reach out a hand, but he bats it away. He anchors to the ground and ignores me. And I need to choose my battles. Don't you dare, I think. Don't you dare have a meltdown in the middle of Cornmarket. Not today, son, please. The pain in my chest reminds me to breathe. And teenagers are already circling with mobile phones at the ready. When he was younger, the meltdowns would terrify me. He would throw himself to the ground, limbs flail, and my life froze, not knowing how to make it stop. And after, I would sit on the floor with his head on my lap and stroke his hair, as much to soothe myself as him. See, I had no idea how to love this child. I was empty, hollow, as if someone had carved out my core. It was years before I realised I was grieving for the healthy child I thought I had a right to, for the absent father who couldn't cope, for all that I used to be and all that I would never become. But see, I remember the exact moment it changed. Leo was 6. We were on holiday in Portrush in a dilapidated 2-berth caravan. It had rained all week. Desperate to be outside, we donned raincoats, Wellingtons, headed to the rock pools with buckets and nets in hand, and Leo hunkered down. And he reached out to touch the water with his fingers. Circles! He boasted, as if he had invented them. And then he looked straight at me. And not past me, not through me, but straight at me. His eyes locked on mine, and I saw for the first time the way that sunlight sprinkled gold dust in his eyelashes, the way that laughter punctured his cheeks with dimples. Yes, Leo, you clever boy. See, those are circles. But he was gone again, as quickly as he had arrived. Silent once more, face flat, but see, it didn't matter. Because something had connected. We had connected. My boy was reachable. I could make this happen again. In Cornmarket, the streetlights turn raindrops into fireflies above our heads, and I study Leo for signs that this is something other than defiance. But he isn't tapping on his thigh or rocking on his heels, and there is no low hum that usually comes before an episode. See, this bugger is huffing. Right, son, come on, I try, and immediately know the tone is too harsh. Watch him crumple and tears purl in his eyes, and stand on my ground isn't worth this. There's nothing really worth this. And that coffee smells good. The guilt is so heavy, I have trouble stepping towards him with my outstretched hand. Right, big lad, I say. Come on, let's go and get that coffee, eh? And there it is. That smile. The one that punctures his cheeks with dimples as he looks. You see, I made it happen again. And my forever boy takes my hand. Thank you. After that piece of flash fiction, I went to another event with Flash Fiction, and I remember being really nervous. There's a really good friend of mine that passed away. He sadly took his own life, called Jay Faulkner. And I was sitting with Jay, and I said to Jay, I'm actually feeling sick, and I can't even see the words on my page. And Jay knew that me being a perfectionist would have read that piece a million times. And he said, why don't you just try it without the pages? And I owe so much to Jay, because that night just felt like flying. It was the first time that I performed without pages, and it was the first time that my voice felt free. And I remember sitting down and just thinking, okay, so I can actually hide inside something I've written, and this is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to go from trembling pages and trembling knees to just hiding inside a piece and letting the piece do the work. And yeah, so I'm going to do a little mental health piece, just really in honour of Jay. This one doesn't have a title. Today, you will send me a message. So you will ask me how I am, and I'll tell you I'm fine. I won't say, I think I'm being bullied at work. But honestly, it is so insidious, so subtle that really I'm not even sure. Is she being mean, or am I losing my mind? I won't say that even though I'm content with my child-free life, I have the freedom to do what I want when I want. Sometimes the laughter from a child in a supermarket queue still makes my arms feel empty. I won't say that in 2020 as a nurse I held too much grief down a phone line. I passed on too many messages to the dying. Please, tell them they were the best mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, friend in the world. Nurse, can you please just tell them I'll always love them? See, those words had weight that sank to the soles of my feet, so now every step I take, it feels like quicksand. And I won't say that every time a woman is attacked, it almost breaks me. That I cannot listen to one more person say, women need to reclaim the night. Because it happened to me in broad daylight. And the eldest of the group who attacked me was 16, so yes, please, educate your boys. I won't say that in the year that followed, I lost every hair in my head. I lost my sense of safety. Christ, I lost my shit. I lost the ability to speak in full sentences all over again. Or that this whole journey, this stepping up white knuckle to a mic has been about me speaking up for every time when I have been silenced. Today I will send you a message. See, I will ask you how you are, and you will tell me you are fine, and yes, I get it. I understand the need for walls. If the wall falls down, the roof falls down. Everybody's so terrified that others will take a look around and walk away. But listen, if I've sent you a message, if I have taken the time, it's because all day long you have been in my mind, and every time I say your name out loud, my heartbeat quickens. So you say I already know that something isn't quite right. So let's get real. Because I've already lost 5 people to suicide. I don't know how many you've lost, but one more is one too many. We need to find a better way to talk to each other. We need to have more honest conversations. See, I'm suggesting good communication is just an equation where A is what happened, B is the impact, and C is what you need. And yeah, it really is okay. You can ask for what you need. And I'll go first. A, there's nothing really bad has happened lately. Like, there's nothing I can put my finger on. In fact, from the outside looking in, everything looks the same. But B, I've been crying for days. Sometimes it's hard to put one foot in front of the other, and some days, something as simple as brushing my teeth overwhelms me. See, I think I just needed to say that out loud. It's your turn now, and I'm listening. So it's May. My mum's birthday was in May. But my mum's gone since 2010. My mum was diagnosed with Alzheimer's really, really young. And we got her final diagnosis whenever she was only in her 50s. But she started showing signs much earlier than that. So this piece is part of a longer piece. You can Google, go into YouTube and search for 17, but I'm just going to do part of the piece tonight. So this little piece is called 17. It started with post-it notes that littered every surface of the living room. See these luminous squares of green and yellow that yelled repeated commands. Pay window cleaner. Pay credit union, ring Cathy. Pay window cleaner, pay credit union, ring Cathy, except the window cleaner never got paid. Nor the credit union, and you never ever rang me. And then there were the things that I told you that you forgot. And the things that you told me 1,000 times. The night I turned up to visit you, remember during election time, and you closed the door in my face, you told me you were sick of Sinn Féin canvassers and you weren't voting that year. And the time you bought me chocolates for my birthday, left the room, came back in at the mall and thanked me for them. Like even the coffee ones, and you hated coffee. The phone calls in the small hours of the morning to tell me you were worried because Dad hadn't come home. And Dad had been dead for 5 years. There were countless visits to the doctor, diagnosis of loneliness, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, psychosis, but none of them were helpful because none of them were right. But 10 years in elderly care told me what this was. This was dementia. But you were 48. You were found one night wandering in the rain in your nightdress, barefoot and soaked through. It took 3 months in a unit for them to decide that this was early onset Alzheimer's, 3 seconds for me to decide that you would live with me. And the first night, you had a delirium that had you ripping the curtains from the rails, kicking, biting, screaming, thrashing, spitting, unable to find the bathroom. You soiled yourself and you cried like a child. So I took you to your home, where you attacked me in the night thinking I was an intruder. You thought I was stealing from you. You phoned the police. So finally, after guilt that took the core from me, came an acceptance of sorts that I couldn't continue. And I placed you into care, where you flatlined into a shell of all that you had been, and I will admit, visits became painful and less frequent. And I consoled myself with the fact that you would not remember whether I had been to visit or not. And years passed. I'd already lost you. A phone call came to work one day to tell me you had been admitted to hospital with a chest infection, where amidst your rage and delirium they told me it was terminal lung cancer. And they transferred you to hospice. And you were 59. I visited one day during music therapy. And I stood frozen at the door as I watched you dance in your chair to the music of the Kinks, as much as your frailty would allow, and you were lit up with youth and joy and something I'd never seen in you. Hope. As I approached, you turned to me with your face full of mischief and you said, I bloody love the Kinks. Do you like them? I'm Kate Newlove. What's your name? And you had introduced yourself with your maiden name. Something inside me folded. I realised that this is who you were before my father broke you. But even in the moment, I knew I was being given a gift. I was meeting my mum before she was my mum. So I played along. I sat beside you. You told me you were 17, That you were dating a boy called Sam and we talked about the music you loved and the places you went to and all the things your mother never let you do, and you made me laugh so hard. So we established a routine of sorts. See, I would arrive and find you vacant, unengaged, but I would play the music of the Kinks and there you were. 17-year-old Keg knew. And I fell in love with you. With your cheek and your charm. God, your infectious laugh. And your insatiable passion for the Kinks. And the night I lost you the second time, the nurse said you'd been distressed, that you had been calling out. And unable to settle you, she put on the music of the Kinks and left the room. She came back a few moments later to turn the volume down and find you gone. It still tickles me to think that as the Kinks sang out, "Oh yeah, you really got me," someone came and got you. You know, the medical records say that you died aged 59. But me, I say different. Because the Kinks were playing. You died aged 17. Thank you. So the next one I wanted to do was a piece about really not having children. One of the things I try and do in my writing is try and find something that causes me distress or pain or regret and place it inside something that gives me hope. And there was a little guy gifted to me in a very special way. And I wrote this piece for him. He's not little anymore. He's 19 now. But he was kind of 7 or 8 when this happened. This little piece is called Copper Pennies. It was the hop, skip, drag, swagger that caught my eye. See, you had your fists forced into jean pockets, all grown man attitude in this small boy frame. I figured you were 7, maybe 8. I hadn't seen you before. I watched your shoulders sag further with every door closed as you went from house to house, and I wondered, were you collecting or seeking sponsorship? I got a few coins out just in case, and I watched. I waited. And you reached my gate. You spotted me in the window. You grinned at me like we were old friends, strode my path with your chin in the air like you owned the world, and knocked my door 3 times. See, the door barely opened. You shoved a flame-red head into my hallway. You scanned my living room for evidence and asked, "Here, missus, have you any children?" See, those words. See, they landed in the hollow of me where children had begun. Each one conceived of hope and longing and loss. Each one named. Their whole lives carved out in my heart before they left me, and the last one fell from within me like he had never belonged. So, no, I said, I don't have any children. But you scratched a bird's nest into your crown. You placed your hand in mine, God, cool and smooth as a pebble, and you looked up at me with copper eyes like pennies that had just dropped. And you said, "Missus, are you not allowed them? My mummy isn't allowed me." See, I remember steadying myself against the doorframe, scrambling for words, anchor, breath, but you were already on my sofa, kicking off your size 2 trainers, tucking your sock soles up in under your bottom. "Have you got a PlayStation?" you said. At this stage, I know. I should have said you shouldn't be in a stranger's house, that maybe you should leave. But something inside me recognised this indiscriminate disclosure, this seeking out of safe adults, this need to be known and seen that if not caught, I knew would turn into fear of the same. So instead, I said, "I don't have a PlayStation, but I do have Disney." "Toy Story!" You jumped back in my sofa. You rearranged the cushions because you were going nowhere. So the first time we watched Toy Story, The second time you asked for crayons, but I had none, for drawing paper, and I had none, so we lay belly down on a tiled kitchen floor. We drew on the back of unused wallpaper with Sharpie pens. And there were so many times after that. 2 years of knocks on my door with paintings for my fridge, or your face lit up with pride at new trainers, but mostly you just wanted to come in because you were bored, or Eva had told you to give her headpiece. On the day we moved home to just 2 streets away, you wailed. You buried your flame-red head into my hips. You hiccuped into my pockets. Am I allowed in your new house? I thought of all the things that we both hadn't been allowed. I thought of paintings taken from my fridge, packed carefully into boxes, of Toy Story and Cold Bellies on tiled kitchen floors, and I lifted your face to mine. God, those pennies. Oh yes, I said. You're definitely allowed in my new house. And over the years, the visits got less until they stopped. But I still see you sometimes. At 14 you tower above me now, but that hop, skip, drag, swagger will catch my eye, and you will grin at me like you did the first time. And remind me that I may not be a mother, but I can still have children. Thank you. So the last piece I wanted to do is a little bit more upbeat than the rest. I had a patient say to me one time that she never wanted children because they turn your breasts into tennis balls and tights. And like I do very often, I tucked that phrase away and I didn't know where it belonged. And then I was in Sainsbury's one night and there was this lady dressed to the nines with the best of Sainsbury's in her trolley and champagne and hors d'oeuvres and all these fancy little bits. And she also had 2 packets of Jammy Dodgers. And it just felt so incongruous that I thought there's got to be a story behind this. And then she started to speak. So I tried to do this piece in her voice because once I heard her voice, I knew she would tell me the story of the tennis balls and tights. So this little piece is called Jammy Dodgers, and Mark and Darren are already giggling. I never wanted children. They turn your breasts into tennis balls and tights, scribble stretch marks across your abdomen, and they take away your freedom. No, not for me. So I stuck to married men. They wanted nothing from me and I wanted nothing from them. They had the children at home, the tired, bedraggled, sexless wives, so I gave them what they needed on my terms. I had the restaurants, the hotel stays, the gifts, the adoration, none of the pairing of the socks, none of the picking up of clothes paddles, and none of the pubes in the shower. Oh dear God. But then I met Charlie at Sylvia's 60th birthday party. Now Charlie was a widower, handsome, charming, smart, well, reasonably, and I liked him, and I told him I'd meet him again, but sadly he dropped dead on the golf course a week later. Pity, really, he had potential. I didn't attend the funeral. A phone call came a week later from a teeth-grating scouser of a girl called Sarah. Sylvia, wait, Sylvia had given her my number. I vowed to slap Sylvia on sight. But I told her we could meet the next day. And I wore red lipstick. I wanted her to remember me. Now, not like me. I didn't want her to come back. Just remember me. I opened the door to the smell of damp dog, a ponytailed 20-something dressed in hooded top, pale blue jeans, too short, and a grubby pair of trainers that were getting nowhere near my pure wool cream carpets. But worse than all of that was the, oh dear, the pram. It held a 2 or 3 year old who knows, dressed all in pink with Babe emblazoned in blue across its t-shirt. Babe held a jam biscuit in each filthy little hand. I asked her to remove her shoes, and she obliged. No socks. Turquoise blue nail varnish and a tattoo of a frog on her left ankle. Well, I retreated to the kitchen to make the tea while she unleashed the child from the pram in the hallway. A tea bag and a mug will do me. Oh dear God, I used my best china, cups and saucers and matching milk jug. I was not lowering my standards for this girl. I placed the tea tray on the coffee table, tried not to wince as babe rubbed jam into my pure wool cream carpets. I kept my back straight, smoothed my pencil skirt, took a breath. And without warning, that child clambered onto my lap. I kept my hands pinned firmly to my sides. I did not want to encourage it. She's cool, Cassidy. Oh dear God. The child pressed into me and something flooded through me. My hands found the plumpness of its belly and all of my could-have-beens stitched my rib cage tight. I let my nose drop into the soft mop of curls, breathed in the staleness of it. I closed my eyes. I let myself imagine it in the bath, a pyramid of soap suds upon the crown of its head. A sticky hand found my cheek, and I brought it to my own, and suddenly she was gone, toddling towards her mother, who handed her a jammy dodger, while I felt like someone had taken a wrench and cranked my chest wide open. And I don't remember the rest of the visit, only that the next day I found a sticky handprint upon my French doors. Mesmerized, I placed my palm beside it, remembering the soft scratch of tiny fingernails upon my face. Today I'm in Sainsbury's. I'm watching the items go through the scanner, listening to the rhythm of the beep, beep, beep. And when she lifts them, I can't help but smile. Sarah and Cassidy are coming today. And for the first time in my life, I'm buying jammy dodgers. Thank you.
Man, that was special. Really, really special. As I keep saying to people, you start off in the front row and you end up at the back. It's so powerful. So, once again, thanks very much to Cathy for an absolutely fantastic show tonight. And every week I say it, we are just so lucky to keep getting performer after performer, and it just, I wouldn't say it gets better and better, but it just gets, it goes like that, and that's all I can sum it up as. So next week we have Decky and Sam. Decky Core and Sam O'Neill. So, yeah, once again, Cathy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Darren, thank you so much. And from myself, that's good night from Acoustic Haven. Thank you.